Welcome back to The Real Grind, guys. This is the part where we talk about real estate while we see one of the best cup of coffees ever. And you know, we drink so much coffee here that sometimes we just got running in circles. Italo, how is your vision? You have 2020?
I'm not sure if I have a 2020, but I would say it's decent.
Okay, so we're gonna do a test right now.
Oh my God.
So read it
I
for
was
me.
not ready for that.
So we have a table here. We're gonna read the letter. So let's see. You're gonna read this one right here.
The bottom one?
Yeah.
That's
All
not
right.
even how far they do it at DMV.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty close, man. Okay, can you do this one?
Yeah. LDC. Now I can see it. Now I can see it. LDCE. I think that's an OTEF.
Fail.
What was it? Was it a G or oh?
It's a G.
I
Let's
got
get the
one
show
wrong.
started because today is going to be super special because we have people that know a thing or two about eyes. Just saying. Let's get the show started.
Waking up to success. Now we're getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on gourmet coffee. The real grind. This is the real grind. Let's go.
All right, they are amazing entrepreneur couple. They eye doctors, philanthropics, international speakers, investors and syndicators, #1 Amazon best-selling authors, founder of Blacksteel Investments. They have diversified the portfolio over $600 million in real estate, 7,300 units in development projects and hotels. They're also two successful practices in Dallas, Texas. We welcome on the stage Dr. Jaime Gonzalez and Dr. Juan Niguin. Welcome to the stage. Let's go! What'd you think of my eye exam?
That was good. That was good. I didn't know that was coming.
I have a question. Was that clear?
No, from the distance.
That's actually a very good distance. What you were doing there. So
Really? So
yeah.
what we give him?
You might need to see us because you didn't do so well.
No prescription for Italo? No prescription? Guys, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. You know, I'm a fan of you guys, man. And actually, when I started in this business, you know, you guys are already doing it, and you know, you guys always show up, and wow, you're always at this smile, and you guys just cool people, man. So thank you first for the friendship and for you guys live, and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. And we appreciate you and Delia so much. You guys are beautiful people. We love that.
Oh,
Honored to
and-
be here today.
Yeah, I do want to compliment your whole staff and your team and this beautiful setup that you have here. Man, you have it going, and you're now, you know, one of the top 1%ers, you know, of doing podcasts.
I know.
You so
Remember we
that's-
talked about
Yes.
that
Yeah,
the
so
other
that's-
day, man.
Congratulations on that. Man.
We are definitely. It's been a very hard work, but you know we couldn't do this without obviously our team and but also the guests that come here just adding value, man. And that's why we did the podcast about it. You know, adding value while we're sipping a gourmet coffee. You guys being actually they're being in my house and we're trying coffee. Remember,
Yes.
we had
Yeah.
this coffee blind tasting and we had to grade it. It was awesome. But guys, I want to go back and you know. First, I want to start with you, Juan. Talk a little bit about your background and where you're from and your beginnings. And then we go to Hyman and we share a little bit of your story too. But let's start with you.
So my story is a little interesting. I was born in the Philippines in the refugee camp in Manila. And so I came to the States when I was around 8 years old. And so I've traveled all over. So when people are like, where are you from? I'm like, where do I even answer that, right? Because I come from so many places, moved around quite a bit. Started working by age 10.
Wow.
So young entrepreneur working in the restaurant business. So been in all different industries. But by trade, you know, Jaime and I are eye doctors. 18 years. Can you believe that?
18
he
years
injected my
already.
eye 18 years and I fell in love. Can you believe that?
Well, hold on. I know that story, but we're going to hold on, man. And I want to hear that story too. But Jaime, what about you? Tell me a little bit about your background.
So I'm an immigrant from Mexico, and I came to the States whenever I was 6 years old. We had $50 in our pocket, just enough for 2 tanks full of gas to make it to Irving, Texas, a suburb of Dallas.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, it was tough growing up. You know, it was like 9 or 10 people in a 2-bedroom house, and with my uncle and my aunt. and it was tough to make ends meet. For my parents. I tell the story of me helping my dad going into dumpsters. So I was a dumpster diver. Whenever I was like 11 years old. And so I did that for a little while, and my parents sat me down, and they said, "Hey, this is not for you. You need to straighten up, get it very very smart, and start doing something for your life." So, but yeah, and we got started, and
And why, like for you, and obviously you guys are eye doctors. Was that the desire from a young age? You had the kind of like, oh, I want to be a doctor, or was that you were already set? Some people do
Yeah.
very in a young age, like I want to be an eye doctor from the beginning, right? But is that something you guys had it on you, or
Well,
is this
for
something?
Jaime, it's different. My story, I didn't really know at the beginning.
Yeah.
I knew that the food industry, I was working 70, 80 hours on average in addition to going to school. So I knew that, like, my mom never was allowed to go to school because she was a girl. And so I knew that I wanted to have the opportunity. They came to America so that we
Yes.
could have better opportunities.
Right.
And so I really didn't know I wanted to become a doctor per se, but I was an entrepreneur at heart. And through college, I took a summer job, and I actually worked in an optometry clinic. And that's how I got introduced into the world of optometry. I went to college starting off with international business marketing and management. And that's what I was pursuing at the time because I wanted to do business. And I
Right.
wanted to travel the world. And I was like, how can I combine the two? And then when I worked in the optometry clinic, I really enjoyed eyes. And I was like, wow, this is really a great way for me to still become a doctor and have entrepreneurship and combine the two. And so that's the journey I took. And so I was in school and I did a double major in cell and molecular biology and psychology. And then 2.5 years into college, I decide I'm going to go optometry. And so I switched gears a bit, but I love it. It's been a really great journey. But no, I did not know, like, as a child, like Jaime,
Yeah.
that I was going to become a doctor.
Wow, that's awesome. But, I didn't know that you were entrepreneurs since the beginning, and wanted to do a business.
Yes.
Well, obviously you're a businesswoman now, so it kind of worked out. It was the eye doctor was a
Yes.
distraction. I'm just kidding. That was awesome. What about you, man?
I knew in fifth grade that
fifth grade?
that I wanted
Look
to
at
be an eye
the
doctor.
opposite sides, man, of the
Yeah.
story. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
And it's I was doing an eye examination, and at the nurse's office in fourth grade. I remember I couldn't see the board, or I couldn't see the letters that they showed me. So, but I figured, okay, just memorize the letters, right? So in fifth grade, I was trying to do the same thing, but the nurse told me, don't read the bottom line, read the second from the bottom. And I didn't memorize that one. So
That's amazing.
Can you believe he was cheating and
I was
memorizing?
kidding.
I know, and so I needed correction, right? And so I went to the eye doctor in town, and I had a great experience. I needed a pretty high prescription, so it just completely changed the way I thought about vision, right?
You had a
Because
good
there's no
experience
comparison.
because the doctors.
Yeah. And then probably a couple days later, I started going to the library of my school and just checking out books about eyes. And so I got into it, very, very quickly. And I already knew.
Wow,
I
they
was
fixed your vision. You instantly became smart.
right? I was passing my
That's
class
awesome,
now.
right? That's amazing, dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, in high school, I already knew. In college, I already knew. So, that was an easy journey. I didn't come from an entrepreneur, background. My parents worked, 2 jobs pretty much, all their life, and they were not home. So it's like you got to figure it out,
Yeah.
right? And that's what we talk about. I like the name of the show because the grind for us. That is one of the things that made us successful. We had that grind and that grit, and going to school for many years, and then also diversifying to other entrepreneur positions, that grind and that grit is what's got us here today. So,
Absolutely, man. I mean, the perseverance from all of us immigrants, right, to come here to this country and full of opportunities, but you need to really grab it and
Oh, yeah.
and make it something out of it. Man, I appreciate the story. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Like, I knew this episode was gonna be great. So I've been trying to call these people, by now, that's what I'm saying. A successful entrepreneur, they travel for a living now. They're just everywhere. And I'm trying to get them to the show. They're like, I'm traveling this weekend. But I'm so glad they worked out. I mean, really truly love you guys and love this story. But guess what time it is?
Is it
Coffee
coffee
time.
time?
It's coffee time.
Yeah,
Let's
bring
go.
it.
What up, Italo? They're a little bit more experts than they usually because they're being in my house.
I can't see you. I don't know why. It's all blurry right now.
Yeah, exactly. You
I failed my
the
test and I'm instantly blind. How you doing? Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so
How you doing,
much.
brother? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Talk to these folks right here. But Italo, the same experience that you had in my house. So Italo used to drink the worst coffee you can possibly think with lots of sugar until he made it to my house. And look at him now.
Yeah. It's like a,
He's a coffee doctor.
I don't want to call myself a doctor, but everything started at his house. Same experience that you guys had. But I stopped drinking coffee for a long time. For the longest time, I refused to drink coffee because I despise very hot beverages because I always burn my tongue. I'm one of those guys that whenever I eat, whenever I drink something, I'm fast. My mom would always complain, like, why are you eating so fast? I put so much love on that. It was like, because it's good, like I'm done. And same thing with coffee. So I always go to people's house, and then whenever they serve me coffee, I always burn my tongue, and that was it. I would be pissed for the rest of the day because my tongue is gone, So whenever I went to his house, the experience that I had in there with the coffee, I was like, okay, this is different. But me, Eder, I talked about this, like we were putting sugar on our cup without him seeing it. So he just found this out this year. I just told him, but we're putting sugar on ours. And then fast forward to last year, that's when everything kind of just unfolded, And I really enjoyed the fact that both of you really like coffee. And today we're going to try something that's going to be interesting. So this one right here, a lot of you at home probably have heard of this name. You've probably seen it in the store, right? Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yeah. So very popular, very famous in Colombia. And Dani brought this for us. So she got it at the airport. So a lot of times you're rushing through airports and you have the option of buying a local coffee. So she brought us this, and we're going to give this a try.
Okay.
So because you guys like coffee, we like coffee. Dani, I'm sorry, but we're probably going to be super honest with this. So
If it's not good, we're gonna bring Donnie on the stage. And Donnie,
To take it
what
back.
is this?
Can you
Take
come
it
and take it
back
back?
to the airport.
right. So let's give this a shot. It's going to be interesting. So I got both of y'all's right there. And this is the real grind, guy. Let's be honest with this.
Let's see.
Okay, y'all ready?
Ready.
I'm not gonna be too mean about it, but I want to hear their reaction first.
It's horrible.
What do you think, Jaime?
It's really bad. Not just the fact that it's old, but it's yeah.
What do you
It's-
say?
No, I think
You
it's
can
not.
be honest here, because we majority of the coffees are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we do drink a lot of coffee, a lot of varieties. This definitely is not one of my favorites. It's just very tart. The back of the palate is pretty much
Remember,
messed up.
you're not hurting our feelings. We don't own Juan Valdez.
We gotta put the camera on Danny right now. Danny, please, you're responsible for this. And you're never gonna be. We trusted you. You're never gonna bring coffee to the show anymore.
It's not true. The other one that I got was really good.
The other one was pretty good. Actually, yeah. Okay, so you even.
So yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So that's okay.
Wow, what do you think?
What it is.
Yeah, not one of my favorites. After you just spoiled us the last time with the smooth one from Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have the redemption. So you go there, and we're gonna continue the show. And towards the end, we're gonna try. Give us that one from Oscar.
Yes.
I know they're gonna love that one.
Okay.
Make that. Did
Okay.
you say have enough?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. But that's the thing, though. I agree. This is not the best coffee, It's
we
drinkable for the people that are at home. If you don't have a choice, it's drinkable because this is an upgrade from whatever like
Yeah.
Folgers and all that stuff.
Why are
It's
you
already
being
an
so
upgrade.
nice? Usually
No,
roast
no.
the roasted,
No.
over roasted coffee.
I do, but what I'm saying is this is like, it has an expiration date on it. It's starting wrong right there. So if we get to go to Colombia and try their coffee right there and then,
Probably.
it's
I
gonna be
guess,
different. So
yes.
that's why I'm being nice, because if you get this fresh, I can see the potential in the coffee. Because this is not like Oscar, like whenever he gave us that coffee, that was bad. The experience we had with that
Yeah,
was
it
bad.
was pretty bad.
This is not as bad.
Not as.
You know, so we can still kind of sip on it. If you're on a rush, it's like, okay, let me just brush my teeth now, I'm gone. So it's an option for people out there, but I don't know. It wouldn't be my first choice, that's for sure. If I'm like, maybe I'll just don't drink coffee that day.
Right? Let's give it a note. I give it
Give
a
it a
4.
score.
A 4.
3.5 to 4.
I say 2.5.
Dang,
Jeez,
he's
yeah,
tough.
yeah.
I gave it a 4.
Yeah, y'all are mean, man.
I mean,
I'll give it a 5.
and you know, the way we tested it at your house, I mean, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And you had like 8 or 9 categories, and
Gourmet
yeah,
stuff.
you were
we
very
got.
meticulous on
Yes.
how you were preparing that coffee. So you did not cut any corners. So,
Right.
I mean, going through that a few years ago, and you know, and now
Made it
getting-
another monster there, man. It's just like Chitalo,
Was
yeah.
that really like the
Another-
turning point for y'all?
Another coffee
Yeah,
snob.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's tough because like it's tough to drink coffee just anywhere now, right?
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
I was at the airplane, like on the airplane a couple months ago, and this couple was sitting next to me, and we could smell the coffee.
Yeah.
And we all look at each other, just happened to look at each other, like, it smells so good, right? They're like, yeah, but I'm not gonna drink it. They're like, yeah, let's leave there, because they used to roast coffee. So we're like, yeah, we can just smell it. We cannot, you cannot touch that thing.
Dude, but this smell of coffee, don't matter if it's good or bad, but just the smell of it brings so many memories and so many people's. Like, you know, it's just that distinct smell. For example, if you go in a house and you brew coffee in the morning, the whole house smells like right. So he has that sense of mornings and, you know, waking up. I love that about coffee
that's
in
what-
general, not just about the taste, the
Right.
smell of any coffee when it's brewing, right?
It's
Smells
it's
actually-
that's what I was saying.
smells
Like
good.
it's
No,
no, for real. Smell it.
It
Smell it.
smells decent, actually.
It
does.
smells decent. You would never think it would taste like that.
Yeah, the smell and the taste are very distinct, different.
Yeah.
So never know. Maybe one day we get the fresh Juan Valdez out there. Until then, you guys did not make it. So sorry, you know, it's all good. But thank y'all so much.
Thank
and
you.
I'll make another cup of coffee for us. You're
Yes,
not gonna
please.
live here.
Make my friend there proud, man.
I got you. He got my back on the vision test over there. I got you. I got y'all right here.
Sounds good.
You know. All right. Thank y'all so much once
Thank
again. But
you.
before I go, now your mornings are gonna have something a little different.
Oh, nice.
So whenever you're drinking your coffee now,
Thank you.
you
Appreciate
bet.
it.
You bet. So
Look at
Oh, sweet.
this.
so now you got some real grind
you.
coffee mugs for the
Oh
morning.
my goodness.
And yeah, I want to keep hearing the story because this is amazing.
Hey guys, real quick before we continue. So if you want to learn a little bit more how to get started on investing in real estate today, please go to their website, multifamilyempire.com. And if you also want to learn how to do the best cup of coffee in your own home, we're going to teach you a lot of tips and tricks. Go to multifamilyempire.com/forward the real grind. Let's get back to that interview. I want to now to, you know, you guys about the business side. You guys have 2 successful practices and the store and stuff. Talk a little bit how that came about. Where you guys came out of college, start working, and how did that you guys decided to get your own? And
So Jaime and I met in 2005. I mean, we've been dating since 2005. We graduated in 2006. I moved here. He's from here. So
oh, hold on,
Yeah.
talk about how you guys met, and then you guys, you know, the story.
Oh.
Please, that was amazing.
So, you know, there's in our class, you know, all 4 or 5 years, you only have like 100 students and you move up a level each year, right?
yeah,
So you get to know them very well. But Hua, she's like super smart.
well, in school, right? You guys in school together.
Yeah, after college, you go another 4 or 5 years. And so I would never see her. So she would only come for test day. You know, everyone else would be there, but she would make, you know, great grades. And I would be there.
and
you
still
know,
wouldn't show up.
and still didn't show up. You know, she was the first one finished and she would just leave again. So I did not have a chance to talk to her for like over 2 years. So we had laboratory, and there was pretty much no one in the class yet. She was sitting down. I sat right next to her. I was like, I'm going to talk to her right here. Yes. And that lab ended up being injecting each other's eyeballs with syringes, like real syringes, and inserting like saline in the eye to
Even my hands start sweating just to hear that right now.
and to practice on, for patients in the future. And so you get close very quickly, right? Because you're right here, and then the other person's right here. So you feel
Doing
almost,
the eye contact stuff, eye to eye.
yeah. No, and then we did a good job, on each other. She liked how I injected her. And
It was a great injection.
Oh my God.
Hey,
and then I knew that she liked bowling, and so I invited her out bowling, and she bowled a 200 game on me. So she brought her own ball, her own shoes. She curved the ball, and she whooped me. Right. So
Holy
I was
shit.
like, oh, this is a challenge. Right. So, and then that's how we started to, date. Just because of bowling and injecting each other.
that's the king getting better than that. The show's over, guys. Thank you very much. Let's all go home. It's been great. That's awesome, dude. What an experience, dude.
Right?
That's great. Wow.
But
Allow me to inject your eyeball.
No, I'm good. Good. Maybe put a drop of caffeine in my eye, like people
Wake you up.
pick you up. Yeah, that's great. And when you guys then from college, you guys graduated, and then
Yeah.
you
So we graduated 2006, moved here, and we were $350,000 in debt. We came out, and you graduate in May. We don't officially start working till like mid or end of July, and we are running out of student loan money to live off. And so we moved here to Arlington, 1-bedroom, C-class apartment, right? And so we're like, man, how much do you have in your bank account? He literally had like $200 left. I'm like, we just paid the month's rent. I was like, we got to start working because we don't have enough to pay the next month's rent. I mean, we got to start working, right?
and you can't work because you need your license, right? So there's a 2 or 3 month gap
Right?
until you can actually see patients and
Yeah.
start working.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah, because for when you do the test, you live for the
Yeah.
license, and then holy
so
cow.
ramen noodles, man, we soup up ramen noodles every which way.
There's 1,000
There's
recipes for
1,000
ramen
ways we were
noodles,
cooking
man.
ramen noodles up.
Dad and I
but-
ate a bunch that would still eat us sometimes, and it's like a
No.
gourmet thing. And I was like, hey, just have
No.
ramen noodles.
Yeah.
But we started working we fortunately were able to get a full-time position at a private practice, each of us in different clinics. And our goal was to have our own clinics within the 4 to 5 year time period. And so traditionally, you're offered 5 days a week. But Jaime and I, we were picking up what we call relief work. And so picking up extra work days.
I see.
So we worked every Saturday and Sunday. And like we were doing 7 days a week, we would do 21 day streak and then have a 1 day break. And so we didn't change our lifestyle and like have fancy cars. Like once we started making a 6-figure income, we didn't start living in a nice house or buying a new car. He still drives his 2004 Toyota Sequoia. I still drive a 2008 car. And, we didn't have lifestyle inflation. So we're very intentional about investing and saving our money so that we would buy that practice. And we did that for 4.5 years working for another doctor until we were able to buy our own practice.
Wow.
And so, Eyepieces was something that was
It was a franchisee that you guys bought?
so we bought it. It's a private practice, but it's only 2 locations.
Okay.
And so they're not franchised, it's just 2 of those. But we bought it from an existing doctor. And Jaime and I probably looked at 20 different practices, but we really are good about this intuition and gut instinct. And so 12 years ago was when we came upon our Dallas location in Uptown, and literally they were posting the practice for sale, and he saw it. We called the owner, and I went the next day and went to go scope it out, and literally called him and said, "This is it. This is
You
the
just had
practice.
the feeling.
Put your money in. Put the deposit." And he hadn't even gone over to look yet. But next day we came in, we put our deposit, and I mean, and it's done so well for us since then, right? 2011.
So buying the first practice and then the second one came about. Was how long the period of time after the first one?
2.5 years after that.
It's
Yeah,
nice.
2.5 years after that, we purchased our second practice. But we were able to buy our first home after about 2008, when all of that was happening. We were able to buy our first home 0% down.
Wow.
$135,000 in DeSoto was our first home purchase. And so we were still, I mean, it was 135 zero. I mean, so we were still living way below our means. And again, just accumulating until we could buy our practice. And, when you're a practice owner, what people don't realize is, you put a lot of sweat, equity, and time in.
Right.
And so when you're working for
absolutely.
someone else, it's like you're in and out. The responsibilities really you don't take it home. But when you
Yeah.
own your own practice and you have your own team and
100%.
staff, it's like, you're working even more.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
working double time in your own clinic, but it's your own.
Exactly.
And so the potential is a lot there. But we were still doing 60 to 70 hours a week
But-
in our own practice.
Right, but from when we heard from you guys earlier about the beginnings that you're more entrepreneur. So as far as roles, was you were more the entrepreneur business and Jaime was there? How was
He's a
the
visionary.
dynamics?
Like Jaime is like exact complementary, like totally complementary skills. I'm entrepreneurial, but he's so much more innovative. I'm not tech savvy by any means. And so he's really into innovation, making sure the practice have the most up-to-date, innovative technology. And he really practices outside of the scope. And what's really helped our practice stand out is we do everything that most doctors don't do in eye care. And so whether it's like heavily focused on medical optometry, and we have all the technology that most eye doctors combined do not. And so we invest heavily in our people and invest heavily in our equipment and technology. And Jaime is such a visionary. I'm always in my comfort zone, like, no, I'd rather stick with this. And he's like 20 years in advance and ahead of me, And so he helps really guide me along in that sense.
I think because we were grinding so much, 60, 70 hours for 4 years working for other people, you kind of try to figure out, okay, what can I do so I don't have to keep doing that?
Yeah.
Right.
Learn from their mistakes.
Yeah. So because we were going to get burnt out pretty quickly, and we were going to start disliking our profession, which we still love to do.
Yeah.
And so you look ahead and say, okay, what can I do and to kind of combat that? Or so we figured out a way, okay, how can we see less patients but do more on that particular patient? Whenever we were practicing, we would see, 30, 40, 50 patients, but now we see a third of that, or maybe a quarter of that sometimes. But it's not how many you see, is who you see. So who's coming into your practice and what can you do the best for that particular patient to maximize, your revenue, but take care of them the best that
Absolutely.
anyone else can.
Quality over quantity,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And that prime customer service and everything else, Man, obviously the success of being, on the grind and being perseverance is where you guys were today. But I met you guys over the real estate, right? I know you guys for that. And you guys just created also an empire, like a massive real estate portfolio. Talk to me a little bit about how did the real estate now started?
I'll let Jaime share that in the real estate because he wanted to scale practices.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to do. You had 2 practices, and I was like, I have it down. Let me go ahead and
Replicate
open,
this.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4 more, right? And whenever I had everything planned out, I came up to Hua, did a presentation, because
Put some slides.
Yeah,
We're gonna have a board meeting.
because you have to, you're seeing it, a different way, compared to a different person, right? So you have to put it on paper or,
Sure.
yeah,
100%.
so they can see your vision,
Yeah.
right? And that's just not for practices, that's for anything else, right? And so I was like, look, this is what this is what I'm looking at. And she gave me what I call the Heisman, you know, like the Heisman hand in the face type of thing. And yeah, and she's like, stop right there. I don't want any more
She
practices.
cut you off in a presentation. You're all suit up and nice PowerPoint slides. With the clicker in the hand. It's like, stop it.
But yeah, and she's like, I don't want any more practices. I don't want to continue to work, so many hours, and because we're going to be working more in the practice compared to working on the practice, and being a true entrepreneur, which we like to call is like overseeing, all your businesses, right? Instead of working in your business so much, you can work on your businesses and having even smarter people that have complementary tasks do better than you.
Absolutely.
Right? So, and that's what we've been able to do. It's, we've hired, 4 doctors and that are fantastic. And the first year we're very nervous on hiring other doctors and kind of letting them run the day-to-day operations. Mm-hmm. But, they did better than we did that first year. And also you manage and you get to measure, if you measure, you can, do great things, right?
Yeah.
And you get to measure everything. You're more meticulous and you can, move.
Do more KPIs, be strategic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, the first year they did more than we did. And we're like, wow, that was a big mindset shift for us, because that's a lot of people that are in business, they said, I'm not replaceable. Oh, right. Yes, you are.
No, exactly. A lot of us, like in the beginning, when especially our first business, right? And especially when you're professional, you do that thing so well, and you think nobody can do what I do. Mm-hmm. But, that's a misconception that, having more people sometimes, like you said, it can do better than you do. Mm-hmm. And some of the tasks, to help out in a business and, by owning a practice, you guys learn very quick is about accounting, about payroll, about taxes, about operations, paying stuff, right? That just itself, takes all away from being a professional to doing that stuff. But then you get caught up on that stuff, you can do the other stuff. And it's very overwhelming, So I bet it was a really experience, breakthrough and start hiring people, right? And at the time.
Yeah, but we knew real estate. They always talk about real estate is the vehicle for building wealth.
Yeah.
Right. But when you're starting out and, you're in the grind and you're working in your practice, well, how do I get my foot in the door in the real estate world? There's so much out there in the world of real estate.
Yeah.
And so that adventure started for us. And, when we started around 2015 was when we actually dipped our toe into the world of real estate. In 2015, it started off with a girls' trip going to Belize. Mm-hmm. And it was something that intuition again, went there, saw the potential of the island, fell in love with it, called Jaime that night. And I said, we're buying something here. And he was freaking out. He was like, no, whoa. At this point, we didn't buy investing real estate yet. And to do it internationally was a whole nother animal, and we learned a lot the hard way. In hindsight, we probably would have changed a lot of the way we did real estate, but we learned a ton, and so we did start buying land in Belize, and it's where we go every few months. And we bought the land raw. We were the first ones to buy the land there. And then we built from ground up. We hired an architect, hired the whole team. We designed it with them and custom built every detail in the home, hired an interior designer. And then it was like, that's going to be a legacy asset. We're going to vacation there. And then we're also going to rent it out when we're not there. And that was that's how we started to get our foot in the door in the real estate world, and then when we learned about other projects, and then multifamily was really the breaking point where we're like, man, I wish we were introduced to this first.
Yeah.
And when we learned about multifamily syndications, that was the game changer for us. When we're like, wow, we can really utilize our actual money from our practices and have our money work for us and leverage other people with experience to buy these large assets where we're not putting in all the work. We were putting all the work and money and time into our real estate when we were doing it solo. And so when we learned about partnerships and leveraging people's experience and all these other benefits to the multifamily sector, I'm like, wow. And that was really when we were like full speed ahead. This is the lane.
You know, I had I first learned about it through a patient.
Yeah.
And
Really?
so my patient, Mr. Lockhart, and I've been seeing him for a long, long time, probably maybe 12 years. And he came in and he started talking about how he just purchased a brand new truck. And I'm like, well, how much was that truck? He's like, 45,000. And I was like, oh, but I don't think you're working. And he's like, well, you know, I invest in apartments and I just went full cycle on my apartment complex. What?
What is the full cycle thing? Is there
Full cycle?
recycling?
Yeah,
or-
full cycle. What are you talking
What is
about?
that?
And but that's how I got introduced to multifamily through a patient. And so, you know, every time I see him, you know, I thank him for it. You know, it's like, you know, I want to thank you. And
We're in
you know,
full
for
cycle
providing-
ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's, you know, it's the relationship. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
a lot of the things is just about relationships and nurturing that relationship and, you know, watering it. And, you know, so it's that's why he, you know, he was able to open up with me because
Sure.
I've been seeing him for a long time. But then I went up to Hua and for the presentation, like, I have another idea, you know, and she's like, you know, you're crazy, you know, she's
I
like,
think I laughed at him when he was talking about this whole multifamily thing. And I was like,
It's funny. Some people say multi-level marketing.
Yes.
Yeah.
you know, in your mind, you're just like, sounds like a scam to me.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah. And he's like, would you at least attend with me? I'm like,
Whatever.
sure.
Back to you where you said earlier, how like a lot of common, you know, people that encounter this business, you know, people think of getting into real estate is buying a house, putting tenants on,
Yeah.
right? Or buying a vacation home, like one, instead of thinking that, man, I could just do what I do best and just leverage,
Right.
you know, and my money growth, you know, one of those large assets, right? And have any of the hassles, because we had, the daddy had a property in Boston with tenants on, and we know how it is having one versus, you know, the scalability that we have. So definitely. And so what was the first multifamily property? So the first multifamily, the first investment is in Belize.
Yes.
And then
first few
First few.
investments.
first few right there, the
Yeah.
land and stuff. About the first multifamily,
We started off as passive investors first. In
which
8
is a great
projects.
way to start.
We did 8 passive investment projects before we transitioned to being co-general partners ourselves. You know, and so we intentionally built friendships and relationships. And being a passive investor, you really get to learn, even though we were very active passive investors, because we wanted to understand the business, learn it, build relationships until we were really comfortable enough in order to transition over ourselves. But that's how we started. But our first, you know, when we were, even as passive investors, we were underwriting deals, getting to know the brokers, building investor relations. And, you know, we were doing all the active things, even though we technically on paper weren't, you know, active general partners yet. We were always learning the process and getting to know people and building those relationships and being intentional that that was the path we were going, you know.
First property.
Our first property as, you know, so we've had a couple of, you know, when people think it's really easy, the inside scoop really that a lot of people don't share, people share all the great things about it. But I will tell you, you know, as a passive investor, I really didn't know as much as far as how much work it involved being a general partner. When you're sourcing deals and underwriting deals and when you get to best and finals, it's very emotional when and how much work gets involved. We would stay up sometimes 2 or 3 in the morning sourcing deals and then getting to best and final. And then you're only 2 people left and then you lose. And we were going through that 7 or 8 times. I was losing sleep. Jaime was like, you can't get emotionally attached to a property.
Man, because prior people don't understand this. Though I know,
You know.
like when you get the best, if you get the best and final,
If
but
you
if
get
you
the
do,
best and
just the
final.
amount of hours with nothing guaranteed is tremendous, right? The amount of work I put out, it's like, oops, sorry, man, and the brokers are weird about it, calling you, and hey,
Yeah.
but we're trying to get you another deal, man. You know what I
You
mean? But
know.
it sucks. It's
You
oh
know,
my
but
god.
but the truth is, you know, sometimes when you know I was really disheartened. Like our first project that we really were under contract officially was a 56 unit deal that we did all the heavy lifting. It was our deal, and I mean we went back and forth that probably 9 times, right? And it didn't work out for us, but it was a blessing in disguise because if we had taken on that project, it would have been a massive headache, all the things that we found out about it afterwards. But because we didn't take on that deal, a bigger opportunity came upon. And so our first project is actually a 243 unit property that is in Houston. That's a B class that is killing it. That is just done so well. And it was perfect timing. And I was like, man, had we taken that opportunity, and I was just so disheartened that we walked away from that project. And so we took a loss for it. We did not bring investors in it because we just didn't feel the security of that project. And we took a loss. And I felt so defeated. I was like, we put in so much time, effort, and heart into it. And we finally got, after 8 best and finals, our 9th one, we finally won the project. And we had to walk away from that project. But right within a month later, the 243 unit opportunity came, and it's been a blessing in disguise for sure.
But that tells a lot about you, right? To be able to walk away from
Yeah.
something and to not being emotional about it, right? Because like walking away is a big step, and sometimes we're not willing to take, right? We walked out of one unit of one apartment in Alabama when we were there, and like we have to return the investors' money, and we were so afraid of doing so because like, oh man, it didn't work out. We returned everybody's money, and there are people are like, man, thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
That tells a lot about you
Yeah.
guys, and because we have those principles, you guys, of knowing, caring about the investors' money and everything. That speaks a lot about you guys and the success for sure.
Thank you, and likewise for you guys.
And when the door closes, man, maybe a barn in the back it opens. You know what I mean? So definitely look at the deals. And what was your latest project now? What was your you guys did some development too, and then talk a little bit about that, how that transition.
So the last project we actually closed on was a couple months ago in north of Dallas, a city called Salina.
Yeah.
And so that's squeezed in, Frisco and then McKinney in Salina's pretty much in between it.
Yeah.
So that's the next growing city. So
21 years ago, Salina didn't even exist. It was like
Exactly.
little farms.
Yeah.
And so much has grown out
Booming,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so we were able to partner up with a developer and a couple other investors as well. And so we closed a 21 acre land project in a corner lot, which
Wow.
is one of the major
Is it going to be
streets.
multifamily?
So it's going to be multifamily, and then we're also going to do a commercial as well too.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, so that's in the pipeline.
So cool, man.
Super excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And now you guys are buying apartments with Blacksteel, and now this platform for investors to come in and invest with you guys, and talk how that got started, and also share how the people can contact you guys.
Go ahead. You can talk.
So when we saw how little people understand and know about syndications and how to invest and passively have their money work for them. And once we saw the benefit of that, and we go and speak a lot now, the past 2 years, we go on a lot of stages to educate and people, because we realize there so many people just don't know.
And inspire as well.
Right, and inspires to just share the story and just to educate. And that's why we started Blacksteel Investment Group, so that we can educate and so that we can teach people and walk them through the ropes if they want to have different investment opportunities and learning, because it's about time freedom. You know, Jaime and I now, people joke that they see us all over the world, you know, but it was a lot of sacrifice on that. And now we have time and financial freedom, but it took a lot of the front legwork, right? And we want to provide people that opportunity too, to have people be able to have their money work for them, to be able to grow their wealth, right? Not just financial freedom, but time freedom, and to have the combination of both so that they can do bigger things and whatever. It's about freedom in general, right? It's just creating the life that you want to have, and having more diversification is really the key. But that's been our passion. And so now we go educate the youth. Anybody who's willing to listen, we will go and talk to them, you know. But to get in touch with us, we have a website called passivewealth23.com or blacksteel23.com.
We'll put the links down below so you
Yeah.
guys can click it, learn a little bit about the Hawaiian Jaime and their amazing platform. And, you know, and the education is the key for this industry, because like I said earlier, a lot of people think about investing and think about, oh, I got to buy a house, I have to do all the work, you know, and there's a better way to invest with folks like yourselves that really care about, you know, the investment. Plus, what the thing I love about the most, and I'm sure you guys are, I know you guys are very aligned with us to care about that community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, that's where it's definitely making a difference.
You know, that's where our passion is right now, especially since we have that time freedom, is how much value you can give to someone else without expecting anything in return.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what we've been saying the last couple of years for us, is like, provide value, value, value. Don't expect anything in return. You're not going to get disappointed if you kind of think that way. And so now we're, okay, what else can we do? How can we have a bigger footprint in the community? You know, and we want, our vision is to have financial literacy centers for kids, you know, in our apartment communities. So that way the kids, if you start off a kid, if they know how to do their finances early on, I think they're going to have less problems as they get an adult.
100%.
You know, so if you start them early, so we're starting to educate. You know, we're going to the inner city to help, and of course we're involved in a lot of charity work. But you know, what else can we do? Yeah, it's good to give, you know, money, but what else can you do? Right. So, and that's,
sometimes money is not the answer either. You can
No.
help
Exactly.
a lot more sometimes with
Just the
money.
teaching.
Just the teaching, speaking, inspiring. And I see you guys doing a lot of stages, and that's why we did this podcast, through your story, success story from beginnings to where he's at, that they also could do it, and being successful.
you know, 2 years ago, she would lose sleep to do a 30-minute presentation. We were at a multifamily mastermind, and she couldn't sleep for 3 days to do our 45-minute presentation.
I was there.
Yeah, and you were the camera man there.
was.
Yes, and now she's like speaking all over the
She's
world.
not even doing presentations
Yeah.
anymore. I'll just show up.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, it can change in a matter of minutes, right? And now she wants to have that ripple effect, right? So how, if you have a great message, if you have a great story, we say don't go to the grave with your story. You know, you got to share that.
Open up.
Yeah, you're doing a disservice to other people by not sharing, you know, your story and everything that has gone right with you, but also share a lot of things that haven't gone right. Because if there were seminars that taught everything that went wrong, I think I would learn quite a bit, right? Versus
I learned
all the
more.
seminars-
Learn
Yeah,
more.
You end up learning a lot more.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we're passionate about now. It's like, you know,
Similar, how the shit hit the fan. Come learn.
yeah.
Come learn.
I think you would sell a lot of tickets.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. The people would be like, I don't want to learn, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just awesome. Well, guys, this has been awesome. But the the guests want to learn a little bit more about you guys. So this is the Spilling the Beans with Jaime and Juan. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
Hat or sunglasses? Juan.
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses.
Well, I have to have a hat. So for me, I wear to protect my head. Hey, right here. Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Savory.
Why you guys always bring me cookies then when you guys come here? Durian or lychees?
Oh my God, lychee. No durian.
Durian.
What? You guys are a couple, man. It's supposed to like things together.
I like both, but durian has grown on me.
Fajitas or pho?
Pho.
I say pho.
Come on, man. All right. Hiking or cycling?
Hiking.
Hiking.
All right. Development or multifamily? I can develop multifamily, but maybe
You could do
or
both.
build multifamily. Or typical multifamily.
Multifamily.
Existing multifamily.
Balsamic vinegar or olive oil?
Oh, olive oil. You know
Olive
his
oil?
answer.
Olive oil or olive oil?
Right?
He drinks olive oil.
Cuban coffee or Brazilian coffee?
Ooh, that's a tough cookie. Man, that Brazilian coffee was so smooth the other day. I'm gonna say Brazilian coffee.
You better?
I will say
That's
Brazilian
probably one of the
coffee.
better ones that I
Yes.
had. So I would say Brazilian coffee.
Yeah, they're in the show of Brazilian guys, so yeah, they're better say it right. Yeah. Belize or Bali?
Never been to Bali, so Belize.
Belize.
There we go. That completes the Spitting the Beans with Jaime and Juan. Guys, amazing story, amazing accomplishments. Big fan. Thanks for being on the show. But I want you guys, first start with you, Juan. Look at the camera there. And if you can just tell yourself a piece of advice for younger self. What would you done different, and how would you give yourself a piece of advice back in the days?
Giving myself advice. All right, Hua. Do not be afraid to dream bigger. You are worth it. You are enough. And you can do anything that you absolutely put your mind and heart into. That's what I would tell my younger self.
Got goosebumps, man. How about you, Jaime?
Jaime, invest in relationships, especially the very positive ones, and leave negative relationships behind because they'll weigh you down.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Beautiful, guys. You know, that part is actually, you know, this ending, I was talk about it, like when you talk, just have that moment of just like pretend you're talking to yourself back then. It's just you. Then when you find, remember we talked about event, they'll tell you mistakes, right? We know our mistakes. And I was like, we can pass it on to our children, we can pass it along to the others and to ourselves, make us a better person to acknowledge that. And like, you know, like the growth. But this is it's going to be the redemption time that Ito's going to come in here and bring us some decent coffee. We'll make it quick. And this is the second coffee time, number two.
Second coffee time. I can't let them leave with a bad.
I know, exactly. I was actually embarrassed of the coffee.
Thank you so
You're
much.
very welcome. Here's one more. So this probably gonna taste
It
a
smells
little,
good.
a little different than the last time because it's probably cooled down a little more. So let's see.
Let's see.
Oh my God, night and day, dude.
Oh my
So
God.
floral.
It's
Huge
like
difference.
drinking a tea.
Huge difference.
That's what's cool about the coffee that I tell people. Like good coffee, let it cool down. Let it cool down. You're gonna get more flavor, more notes. Bad
It's
coffee.
so floral,
It's
very,
so floral and so
very
smooth.
Oh,
good.
This is like a combination of tea and coffee
Yeah.
together.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
So Oscar,
much.
once again, my brother,
Deliver, man.
redemption.
You know, I've been
Yes.
Oscar. I've been referring you coffee a lot, man. You better send some more coffee my way because I'm really fan of your coffee. Good
Absolutely.
job.
You guys have redeemed it.
Redeemed it.
We did.
Salud.
We did.
Salute.
There you go. All right. Thank y'all.
Oh, thank you
I
so
guess
much.
I'm leaving it at peace right now. I can go to sleep.
Yes. Guys, thanks for the friendship.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all the success. I'm so honored, Deli and I, and our whole team to be part of y'all's lives and have you guys come here to the show. And hope our friendship continues, you know, and this is the real grind.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Very proud of you and your success and Dahlia's success as well.
Thank you
Yes,
guys.
we
You
are
guys are part of
so,
it.
you know, you guys are so genuine, and I mean, we are so happy for both of you. And I mean, what you guys are building and what you're sharing, man, I'm so proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Great experiences like this only here at the Real Grind, man. There's real people in the Real Grinders right here. Let's go.
And as always, hold on. This is the real grind. Let's go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I cannot even wear this thing. Thank you so much for all your love, for sharing your love, giving us a like on Instagram, give us a like on this video. It really supports us. But let me remind you, this episode was sponsored by Green Empire Landscaping. So if you have a big property out there, if you want to make it look amazing, look it up. The Green Empire is the way to go. It's gonna make your property look absolutely stunning. So as I always say, actually, let me rewind a little bit. What's your vision? What are you looking forward to? Don't lose focus. Ever, ever, ever. Don't lose focus. Unless these guys.
Don't lose the focus, man. Be focused on the top line. I mean, this line is a lot better, though. And that's the harder it is, the better the outcome.
I try to cheat. Jaime told me his trick, but the other trick he's showing me the second line too, so I wasn't ready for that. But again, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you. Appreciate the love. This is the real grind. Let's go.
Waking up to success. Now we're getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on gourmet coffee.